So regarding the methodology, they conducted a multivariate analysis of a stylistic feature in entry posted to random weblog. So that's where they control the gender and blog entry subgenre. They did that in two, so the multivariate analysis and the quantitative claim. So the multivariate analysis, it was to evaluate the influence of gender and genre in a stylistic feature. Regarding the quantitative claim, they aim to assess the applicability of quantitative claims regarding linguistic feature associated with genre in the context of web blogs. So I'm going to explain that a little bit better on this slide. So it's going to be the dependent variable and the independent variable. So the first one is the stylistic feature. So the stylistic feature is probably based on the writing feature. So they looked at specific words and phrases that are often associated with men or women. So for example, like I said, women might use more personal pronouns like I, she, while men might use more article like the and a. And regarding the selected feature, it's like the gender pattern. So they identify features that are commonly used by each genre in writing. For the author, gender, they determined whether each blog was writing by a man or a woman by checking names and statements made by the author. And for the blog genre, blog type, they categorize posts into two types, so the diary and the filtered post. It was coded for genre, ensuring precision, and even when a single blog contained mixed genres. So they looked really deeply into those variables. For the simple, what they did at the end is that they were choosing blog. They started with a list of blog collected randomly from links. They aim to have an equal number of blog written by men and women. And the final selection, they ended up with 127 blogs entry from 44 different blogs, making sure that they had enough to both genre, like I say, and the type of post. So the total word count was around 35,721 words, which is a lot of words. But for the final composition, that's what you can see here, on the table. So 44 different web blogs, and 65 was written by women and 62 were written by men. So this is a screenshot that I took from the study. The analytical method. So they, like I said, look at the both variables, so the gender variable. So if a word was used differently by a man and woman, and it was labeled as gender variable, and the gender and the genre variable is that if a word was used differently depending on whether it was a diary or a filter entry, it was called a genre variable. What they did is that they mainly counted. So they used the method to count how often certain words and phrases appeared in each blog entry, along with the total number of words in that entry. And they also used a logistic regression, and I'm going to talk about that in the next slide. So you're going to tell me, what is the logistic regression? Well, this is a way of analyzing data to see how different factors affect the use of specific words. So pretty much like how often certain words were used compared to the total numbers of words in the post. So they did two analyses for that, one for words more commonly used by women and another for words more commonly used by men. This is a screenshot of the passage where they explain that in the study. The results. So before to tell you the results, I created a Google form where you can participate and tell me what you think regarding the hypothesis. It's going to be linked in my entry, and I think it can be fun that you try to do that before to continue watching the video, so you have you can make a little guess, because I was shocked. So let's go. The key findings, so the effect of gender and genre. So the analysis showed that there was no significant correlation between gender and the use of specific stylistic feature overall. That tells you that across all entry, male and female author did not consistently differ in the use of these features. And regarding the genre, the blog entries significantly influenced language use. So diaries tended to be a favor associated with female author, with a lot of use of first-person pronouns, while the filters, on the other hand, showed a preference for feature associated with male author, like the third-person references. So regarding the female preferential features, that is all the results that I got, and I'm going to show you the courbes and everything right after that. So the study identifies several feature hypotheses to be used more frequently by female authors. So this is pretty much what we got. So all examined features display different rates of use depending on the genre, indicating that genre impact how often these features are utilized. Specifically we and he were indeed favored by female authors, supporting some of the genre hypotheses. However, only 2 out of 6 hypothesis female preferential features were confirmed. Notably, the feature U was favored by male author instead. Regarding the male preferential features, same thing. That's the table number 3 that I got from the study. We can see fewer interaction parameter that indicates less differentiation in the use of this feature between gender. Only feature number was confirmed by the favor by male author in filter entry, and the quantifiers show an expected pattern being used more frequently by female authors. So that is the 2 of them I've seen. The right here on the left will be the female preferential feature, and on the right will be the male preferential feature. So you can see the filter, the diary from the female and the male shows next to each other pretty much. So one of the example that they showed, which I do believe was very interesting, is like all the diary entry. So writing, for example, by a man blogger, they include that's on the left, included a high frequency of first single person pronoun when we thought that it would have been woman oriented. No, the male used the exact same thing, did it pretty much. And on the right, the filter entry, which is at this time writing by a female blogger, it can show that they align more with the male preferential feature, indicative of a more objective style typical of filter blogs, which we didn't think was going to happen. So regarding all the finding conclusion, is the genre serve as a stronger predictor of language used, unlike gender of the author. So while certain stylistic feature may show gender preferences, the context of the writing, so the diary or the feature, plays a more critical role in determining which feature are employed. All of that challenge the assumption that gender alone can explain stylistic difference in writing. Finally, the discussion. So they conclude by saying that the study found limited evidence of systematic gender, although certain features like pronoun usage and quantifier had previously been linked to gender. the correlation in web blogs were inconsistent with this gender assumption. Regarding the genre, such as diary and filter blog, it plays way more a big role. It influenced the language feature way more than anything else. So everything related to diary entry, often written in a personal tone. They all favored first person pronoun, while the filter entries, on the other hand, focus on external topics. So they favor the third person pronoun and specific noun. Overall, all of that suggests that the genre focus influence language use more strongly than the author gender. Regarding the conclusion, so the study research analyzed